Hi. We're again talking about the Southwest Branch. This time it's an intro. The Southwest Branch is a big subject. There are a number of little things that we talk about, little productions. And I thought it'd be a good idea to do an intro to it, to more or less talk about or explain what we're doing. The good thing about this is that you have a really great access. You know, if you get onto Lynch Field and go by the swimming pool and go up to the tunnel there, Dead Man's Tunnel by the pool, you walk up through there and you access the 5-Star Trail, which is a really great access point to what we're talking about. You know, that goes the whole way down toward Youngwood. That's, you know, something that at this time of year it's a good thing to think about, because you get out and get a little bit of exercise. You know, what we've done in these things is I've tried to focus at the places around town where things were done. I mean, where things were made. We looked at Old Dutchtown. We saw Ludwig. And now we're going to look at another, what you might call an industrial corridor, the Southwest Branch, because the availability of railroad shipping there made it a natural place to make things, you know, to set up production facilities, because you had shipping. And it was something that they had thought about right after the main line came through in the 1850s. As early as 1854, people in Greensburg were talking about this railroad connection down to Fayette County, because there was, you know, already coal was starting to be produced down there, and, you know, to be able to ship that out would be a, you know, financially productive thing. But when the engineers got out and took a look at it, and they realized how much money it would cost, they kind of like put it on hold. And then in the 1860s, there was a railroad made from down there, down around the Connelsville area, because of the Connelsville Coal Coke region producing. There was a railroad made between Pittsburgh and Connelsville area. And then the people up here, the Pennsylvania Railroad people, realized they were missing this revenue. And they thought, let's get to work. And by the 1870s, by 1873, there was a railroad coming, you know, coming off the Southwest, coming from the main line, going down to Fairchance, and, you know, way down into Fayette County, because of the Fayette County Coal and Coke region, which was a great producer. It made this coke, the coal available down there, made a kind of coke that was just perfect for making steel and iron down in Pittsburgh, and they needed it. So that was, you know, the great incentive to get the things going. The other thing I wanted to mention had to do with what that junction was like down there. I mean, it's totally gone. It's totally disconnected now from the main line. But that was at one time one of the places of the heaviest traffic on the whole Pennsylvania Railroad, because of the amount of flow of coal and coke coming out of the Connelsville Coal and Coke region, and all these feeder lines along the way coming up through places like Hermione and all these other little places that you don't even think about anymore. Luxor, no, Luxor's up north, but there were multitudes of little feeders that were coming into it. Add to that passenger traffic. Passengers were coming up, and then add to that the empty cars that were going back and being serviced at Youngwood. Youngwood was really a creation of the Southwest Branch, because they needed one heck of a lot of cars, railroad cars and engines. And the railroad yard at Ludwig, or Youngwood, was created to service that need. As a matter of fact, it got to the point where they often had a hard time crewing trains. They had a hard time finding enough guys to get a crew. And they would sometimes go out at nighttime when there was a night train going out and go rummaging through the bars in Youngwood, getting the finding train crew. I mean, they were guys who were, you know, they were railroaders, but it's a good question how safe it was to be sending people out who were, you know, had been spending the night in the bar. This is going to be a rather short one. I'm going to just show a few pictures, about 7 pictures, and I'll get this off the tripod, and we can take a look at a few things. Now we may have to go backwards a little bit here. Now, most of you have probably seen this, if not recently, maybe at some time in your younger years, when you were running around down by the pool. That tunnel actually had trains going through it, and we'll try to explain why. I one time talked to an engineer named Al Baird who drove the diesels through there, and he told me it was a hard one to go through because you had to go slow. You were afraid of your cars hitting in there because it was such close clearance. We'll just take a look at some of these. That was down there. Now this is what we're looking at. You can see the swimming pool at Lynch Field. This right here was the junction of the Southwest Branch. It's now filled up with buildings, and there is no longer any connection. This is where the Southwest Branch went down the tracks down this way. Now, this was the situation in 1901. At that point, this was the Y that went down to the branch. This was going south. There was an engine house in here, and there was a tower that controlled the interaction of trains. At that point, Dead Man's Tunnel, the tunnel wasn't in there yet, that duck under. It was called a duck under because the tracks actually went under the main line. Now, this gives an idea of the complexity of that junction. And I don't intend to explain it all. I frankly don't understand it all. I understand enough of it to tell you that it was a very complex junction, and the tunnel had to do with the fact of trying to get a train going underneath the main line so that it wouldn't cause congestion. You see this, they had a siding going off and going underneath. This was where the tunnel was, and then it came out from underneath and come up and joined the branch. That's the tower. It sat right in the middle of the junction, right beside the tracks, and that by electro-pneumatic intercouplers controlled the traffic to keep things from wrecking into one another. This is my attempt to try to explain the tunnel. North is toward the top here. This was the trackage, a 2-track configuration going west, and these were 2 tracks going east, and I explained them with just one single thing. Over here on the westbound, you'll see there was a siding coming off, and it went around and then under and through the tunnel, going underneath the main line, and then going down south. That's a simplified explanation of it, but I think that's enough. In this we look at the the whole southwest branch from Greensburg down to Youngwood. This is the Y at the northern part of the branch, and then this is going down through Huff and down. You get the whole way down to the Youngwood yards. This is Youngwood down in here. And these are the railroad yards in Youngwood. This configuration of tracks, this is what was put together to service the immense amount of traffic that was needed to haul coal and coke. This was supposedly the first gravity hump classification yards in the world. I don't, I can't challenge that, but it could be true. I really don't know. A classification yard is simply a place where you assemble trains. And that just shows us our Dead Man's Tunnel and where we started out. And we'll say so long for now, and we'll see you next time.